Okay, so what we're going to be looking at today is finding out the volume of a cylinder. We're going to be doing two things: getting the general understanding of specifically how to find out the volume of a cylinder, and then we'll be doing something on our own, an activity at the end. So what will we learn today? We will learn how to find the volume of various cylinders. And there's lots of different types of cylinders. So let's talk about two things first. What is volume? Well, volume, remember, is how much space something takes up. So you, as a person, you have a certain amount of volume. You take up a certain amount of space. Your car would have more volume than you. A house would have more volume than a car. But we're looking at specific things. Cylinders. What's a cylinder? Well, you can already take a guess. If you don't know already, based on the pictures up there, it is something like a can of pop. Right here is just a mathematical cylinder that doesn't really exist perfectly, but there is one right there. Pop can, you always look, they're not quite. You can see how it's not an exact perfect cylinder because there's an angle right there, but it is more or less a cylinder. So we're trying to know how much space cylinders, things like pop cans, cups, lenses, trees, you could even say. The base, the trunk of a tree is kind of like a cylinder. Lots of different things are cylinders. Pencils. And any examples you can think of, please do tell me. So we're trying to find out the volume of them. So stuff like these two. So how do you find the volume of a cylinder? So the volume of a cylinder is, that little symbol, remember, is pi. I'm just going to write right there below everything. So 3.14, we're just going to do that. There's always a button. Radius times radius squared, which is the same as just radius times itself. So it's just radius times radius. Put these all in brackets, whatever the radius is. Does anybody remember the radius? We covered that before. You're correct. The radius is halfway across the top of a circle. So looking back at this guy, it'd be from there to there, halfway across the circle, or half the diameter going all the way across. So 3.14 times radius times the height, h. So the height is usually that, or this. It's the area outside the circle going up and down. So just always remember this: 3.14 times radius times height. I have a little movie that I'd prepared for this that we're going to watch. It goes over the instruction. So let's take a look at that before we go any further. So a volume of a cylinder. All right, so next we're going to look at the volume of a cylinder. Volume of a cylinder. A cylinder is just something like this. This would be a cylinder. Pop can would be a cylinder. Anything with a flat top, nice circular all the way down, flat bottom. That's a cylinder. So we're going to be looking at today is right here. We've got a very large cylinder. I made this in meters. Usually you'd be measuring in centimeters, but here we are. We have right here a diameter. So we might remember you're always dealing with radius, so watch over the diameter. What we're going to have to do first here is cut this in half. So you always want the radius, which is half of the diameter. So divide by 2, that equals 5. So radius equals 5. So that's the number we're going to be doing. If you ever see that, cut it in half, then start all your usual steps. I've got the height right here. I'll just mention it. H is 12 meters. 12 meters. So we're going to find out is the area of the circle on the top, and then multiply it by, well, each meter by 12 meters right there. So you kind of imagine each is a little section going all the way down the cylinder. And that's how we're going to find it. So the equation, we always want to have a nice handy equation. So volume equals pi r squared. So pi times radius squared times the height. Pi times radius squared times the height. Pi times radius squared times height. We're just going to use 3.14 today, just so we're all consistent. I know a lot of calculators can have a pi button on there. Try and avoid using it so we all get the same answer. So just multiply it by 3.14. If you see pi, think 3.14. So volume equals 3.14 times the radius squared, so 5 squared, times the height, h, times 12. Awesome. So I want you to square this first before you move on to the last part. Square that first before you go to the last part. So I'm just going to rewrite it again. It's important you write all the steps out. It lets me know where you mess up, and it lets you know where you mess up if you do mess up. So volume equals 3.14, so 5 times 5, so times 25 times 12. The height. This first part right here, this tells you the area of the circle on the top, and then the height right there, the 12, fills in the value right there. Fills in the value. So I'm just going to solve this, then multiply by 12. I'm going to do it step by step by step. And a lot of you are just going to type this whole thing into a calculator, which is fine. But once again, it's hard for me, hard for you to know where you messed up. So it's good to break things down. So 3.14 times 25, we get 78.5. 78.5 times 12. So this is the area of the top. You can end there. We want to know the volume. This gives it, fills out into a 3D object. So times 12. So times 12, we get 942. If you're ever dealing with a decimal, sorry, I should have said this, only go 2 decimals back to the 10th, 100th, 2 decimals back. So equals 942. And remember, it's meters cubed. You need that little cubed. It shows that we're talking about 3D objects, not 2D objects or straight lines, 1D objects. So there's your equation right there. Always replace the pi with a 3.14. If you have a diameter, make sure you cut it in half. Apart from that, it's a straightforward equation. All right, thank you. Excellent. Okay, so we kind of have an idea of how to find the volume of a cylinder. So let's do a little practice. So this one, guys, I want you guys to try and do this. The first one right here on the left, do it on your own, and then I'm going to go over it together. And then the last one, this is going to be your exit slip. So you're just going to hand this one in to me to make sure you're on the right track. All right, so let's do an example for the volume of a cylinder. Well, right away we can see we have the diameter here. So what we have to do first is, so when you see the line going all the way through the circle, you have to divide by 2, so you have the radius. So divide by 2, and we get 2.5. So radius equals 2.5. Awesome. Always make sure you do that. Look at it. It's kind of the pre-work before you move on. So what is missing here? Pi times radius squared times height. The height right there is going to be 1.4 times height. So 3.14, that's pi. Radius is 2.5, we found out, squared, times the height, which is 1.8, pardon me. 1.8. Then 3.14 times 2.5 times 2.5, because that's the same as squared, times 1.8. And you're just plugging it in there, and that's it, that's all. 1.34 times 2.5 times 2.5 times 1.8 gives us something that doesn't seem, oh yeah, right there, 35.325, or 35.33 meters. And now we're dealing in cubed, meters cubed. Okay, we got 6 questions on there. Good luck. Okay, so finally we're just going to give you guys all in the classroom. We've got a few of these that you can do in partners through activity right here. We're just going to say, what is the volume of this cylinder and what is the volume of this water jug? So the water jug, you can see some possible problems there, maybe, maybe not. So you want to get as close as possible, using whatever means you want to find out the volume of that cylinder on the right. So the cylinder is going to be a nice roll of cardboard paper. You can find out the volume of that and then the volume of the water jug. So we're going to get in groups of 3. You can grab whichever one you want first. So good luck to that, guys. And if you need any help, just come talk to me. But that will be it for the class. Just make sure you hand in your one exit slip as well. And this one can be taken for homework as well. So good luck. Talk to me if you have any questions about this.